Yanni Adams was eating Cheerios with a fork and playing an online flash game on her white Sony VO laptop, a birthday gift from Michael Creek. She was dressed in her relaxing clothes, a tracksuit and vest. Her school books lay untouched in her bag underneath a heap of uniform in the living room. She hated homework. Her mother was washing up and singing to herself. She stopped and yelled through the thin plaster wall.
"Have you got homework to do?"
"I'm doing it, Mom,"
Yanni shouted back, as she killed the cast of American Idol with a 7-inch record.
"You better be, we are going to church in an hour or so."
"Oh Mom, God, alright already. I'm doing it. Jesus."
She snapped back, trying to escape a giant Gene Simmons flailing an axe.
"Don't talk to me like that, Johnny. You have been getting some attitude lately, young lady."
Yanni's mother was now standing at the doorway to the living room, seeing that Yanni was not in fact doing her homework. Then the doorbell rang.
"I'll get it."
Yanni rushed off her seat and darted past her mother to the door. Checking the peephole before unlocking the security chain, she saw a peculiar-looking individual.
"Who is it?"
she shouted through the door.
"My name is Joe O'Dumba. I have some urgent information for a Johnny Adams."
"Who are you, though?"
Not waiting for a response, she turned and shouted to her mother.
"Mom, there is a man here to see me."
"Well, I am the president of the First Bank of Nigeria, Victoria Island branch. Please let me in."
Waiting for her mother's nod of approval, Yanni unlocked and opened the door.
Come in, come in. Would you like some tea?"
"No thank you, I need to make this brief. From this moment onwards your life will never be the same."
"What are you going to do to me?"
Yanni asked.
"I think you need be seated, Johnny, and your mother too."
Yanni and her mother led the man to the living room and sat down.
"I have some very sad news. Michael Creek is dead."
Yanni's mother gasped and put her head in her hands. Yanni looked at the man with an expression of perplexed sadness.
"Johnny, I am here to inform you that Mr. Creek declared in his last will and testament that you should receive 50% of his estate."
"What? I don't believe you. This is crazy. Why would he do that? Crazy Jesus."
"Johnny, there's something we need to tell you. I should have told you a long time ago. But there never seemed an appropriate moment. It's so sad how I have to tell you right now."
Yanni's mother said, raising her face from the floral meadow of her thin cotton dress.
"What is it, Mom? What is it?"
Yanni could feel a nervous energy wind and coil up into a large, suffocating ball inside of her.
"Well, I am not your, well I am, but I am not your biological mother. Your father is not your biological father. Mr. Creek and Mrs. Charles are your real parents. We were chosen by them as surrogates. I'm sorry, Johnny, I'm so sorry."
Yanni's eyes filled with tears and she ran out of the room and then the flat, slamming the door behind her and sprinting down the 12 flights of stairs and into the street below. When she finally returned to the flat, 3 hours later, she walked through the living room. Her surrogate mother and father were sat waiting for her. She looked at their sad faces, staring back at her expectantly, and burst into tears.
"Oh Johnny, we love you more than our lives."
The woman stood and approached her, arms outstretched. Yanni brushed her aside, now weeping piteously, and ran with one arm covering her eyes, a route she knew blind, landing softly face first into the pillow of her single bed, the door slamming behind her, closed with the force of a well-aimed heel kick.
"We have always tried to do what we thought was best for you, within our means, Johnny. Please don't hate us over this,"
her mother said through the door.
"Just leave me alone, Mom."
Yanni heard her mother's footsteps retreating from her bedroom door. Wiping the tears from her eyes, Yanni sat up and opened the laptop which was resting on her bedside table. She opened Firefox only to be affronted by the flash game she had been enjoying only hours before this crisis. Emo game wasn't funny anymore, it was just shit. She clicked away, opened a new window and logged into her Gmail account. New message, she began to type.
My beloved. It is my pleasure to contact you for a business venture which I intend to establish in your country. Though I have not met with you before, I believe that sometimes one has to risk confiding in a stranger to succeed. I have recently inherited an unimaginable fortune from my father. He wanted to use this money for his political ambitions in our country before he was kidnapped and killed by unknown gunmen. Both my father and mother are dead and I do not have any hope without their money. This is why I am contacting you today. I have decided to invest this money in your country for security and political reasons. I thank God for this opportunity, but I am truly distraught at what has happened. My father is gone and my family are all dead. This investment shall be made in your company upon your withdrawal of the consignment. I do not have the means to work on this, and will commit suicide if I cannot secure my father's treasure. I want you to help me claim and receive the consignment, which will be sent to you through diplomatic means to your address. This will avoid any trace of the funds and will enable you to make the necessary arrangements for the investment in your country. I would like to invest part of the money into these 3 areas. But, if there is any other business that you feel more appropriate for my investment, then I will be very glad to follow your advice. 1. Real estate. 2. The transport industry. 3. 5-star hotel. If you can be of assistance to me, I would be pleased to offer to you a reasonable percentage of the total fund, whilst the balance will be invested by you. I need all your understanding and honesty to help me at this difficult time. I assure you I will always be your sister. I await your soonest response. Respectfully yours, Miss Yanni Adams.